Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode 6. And this podcast is to share some video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions of games to watch for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully to change the perception some people have of sellers in the video game collecting community. And today we have two guests with us as usual. NintendoHodge, the organizer of the the organizer of the Barrie Game Exchange. And we have Katherine of FlockOfNerds.
Hello.
One behind the amazing Flock content.
Oh, thank you. Here I am.
And me, Derek of Two Dorks. So we always start off with a recent pickup or noteworthy deal. And we've got the rotation listed here. We start off with Hodge. What is the last thing you bought?
Yeah, actually, I think I did this almost in anticipation for the podcast. So last night, we were just browsing on Kijiji, and I saw somebody had a big stack of Xbox games. It was just a generic picture, so you kind of had to look through it and try to find games. And whenever I do that, I always go, okay, well, let's see what else they're selling, because odds are they probably got other things. And I found a couple high-end games. So I contacted the guy right away and asked, can I buy these 3 high-end games from you? And I'll give you the list of everything I got here if everybody's interested. Most people have probably seen it if they follow me on social media. But he gave me a deal on the 3 high-end games. He actually knocked $20 off the price tag right off the top, which I was blown away. I was hoping for maybe like $10 knocked off. And then as I was looking through it, I'm like, well, you know what? I want to get this tonight because I don't want him to end up selling it to somebody else, like have somebody snipe in there and take it on me. So So I said, okay, well, can I come? I can be at your house in a half an hour. And do you mind if I look through all your stuff and maybe pick out a bunch of things? He said, sure, no problem. So I get to his house and I pulled about, big stack. What do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12,
14,
16, 20 some odd games out.
21 from the picture.
Is it 21? There you go.
Yeah.
So we ended up settling. There was some haggling back. Well, not really haggling, but I kind of did a section of games, and then I found more stuff that I wanted, and I added on. In the end, I actually spent $180, which is a pretty big chunk of change. But after valuing all the games, they're worth about $445. So nice. Definitely very happy there. I won't go through everything, but just a couple of the highlights was I got a Shenmue 2. With the manual, Stubbs the Zombie, which is a game you don't see very often on the original Xbox, and a copy of Conker's Live and Reloaded. No manual on this one, but still definitely worth the trip there.
Yeah, there's a couple other good ones in there, like ones that are just fun games, like the Oddworld games, the Warriors. People always talk about it being really good. Grabbed by the Ghoulies, and I see Disaster Report. People always talk about being pretty good too.
Yeah, that's like my 3rd copy of that I've recently picked up too, so it's nice.
Never played. I just heard.
Oh, sorry, Musty mentioned one too, and it sounded interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually keeping that. I've never played it, and it's been on my radar. And that's the I don't even know how you want to pronounce it. Suduike? I know nothing about it. I've heard good things about it. Musty mentioned that it's a really good one.
Oh, okay. I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Sudeki? Is that what it is?
It might be Sudeki, yeah.
I don't know.
No manual in this one, but this one's just going to go in my personal collection anyways.
Cool. It's a good pickup. All right. And then, where'd you find it? You said Kijiji, right?
Yeah, it was Kijiji, yeah.
Do you do anything special for Kijiji for your searches, or?
No, normally I'll just go search directly under video games, and then I search Barrie, I search Muskoka, I search Owen Sound, all my surrounding areas.
Are you filtering based on certain games you want, or are you just searching on
normally? I just literally search the latest and just skim through and look at everything.
Do you scroll down to the last thing you looked at? Like, you know where you were last time you looked?
Yeah, for the most part, that's what I do. Yeah. If there's something specific I'm looking for, I'll try searching it to find it. But I find, like with this lot, it's just a generic picture of everything, and you got to look at the picture to find out what they are. Like his ad said, games, Xbox games, $2 to $10, and then it was just a giant picture of all the shelves. So I
And
looked-
$10 for like stubs and
well,
Conquer.
those were the ones that were under his other ads that I had to
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I
So
was gonna
he
say.
had stubs and Conkers and Shenmue 2. He had two of those were at 20 each, one was at 40.
So is he a collector? Did he say anything about
Yeah,
that? 'Cause it sounds like the prices are
they
pretty much right
were
on.
they were close. They were under. He actually recognized me when I got there. He goes, "Hey, you're the guy that runs the Barrie Game Exchange, right?" He goes, "I'm like, yeah, that's me." He goes, "Yeah, I was at your first and your third event." And he goes, "I didn't make it to the last one." He goes, "Okay." So he asked how it was and everything, but he knew who I was.
Okay.
That's actually one of the first times I've done a deal where somebody's recognized me.
That's funny.
It doesn't explain why he wasn't at the second one, though.
No, or the fifth one.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Fourth,
But
fifth,
he
There's so
said
many.
most of his stuff he had picked up through doing yard sales. So obviously he didn't spend as much money on them anyways. Actually, one other one, which was I didn't mention, and I'll just run back to it quickly here, is X-Men Children of the Atom on the PS1. He had this priced at $40, and it's listed at about $80 value in Canadian.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, see, I don't know much about PS1 games, but I
I
saw
don't
it and
either.
thought that looks like an odd one.
And he dropped it to 30 for me, so he knocked another 10 off of it already. So because I bought in bundle, he was great.
Yeah, well, it's good. Bundle deals. And how much do you think you're keeping of them?
For sure, the one. The rest probably I'm planning on flipping. I'm not gonna say anything right now, but I got some stuff in the works here, hopefully for the end of the month.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reveal too much, but just keep an eye out, and everybody will see all that they need to see. Hopefully by the end of the month.
All right.
Intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so curious now. I hate waiting.
All right. So next on the list is me. What did I pick up recently? So I grabbed a couple things. It actually was a weekend of controllers for me this past weekend. I picked up a Wiimote with WiiMotion Plus, black with the rubber cover, and then that came with a nunchuck and a Wii Classic controller made by TTX, and all those three together was $20. And then I picked up on the next day, 2 days later, I picked up a Wii Classic Pro controller, the gold one, the GoldenEye one, and a black one together for $20, the two of them.
Nice.
So not bad. And of those things, what am I planning on keeping? Oh, I found them on Kijiji. Both of them were Kijiji deals, just ads I came across. I think I even watched the one of them for a while, thinking maybe I won't go get it. It was pretty far away. Yeah, the second one was in Cambridge, so that's like a 25-minute drive from here. It's hard to arrange things with people and get my wife to be okay with driving 25 minutes with the kids to go get some stuff, or let me go without the kids, And so, yeah, I sat on it for a bit waiting, but the gold controller I couldn't pass up. I wanted to get one at least to recoup the money and save and keep the other. So the Wii Motion Plus black controller I was planning on originally selling, because I have 4 Wiimotes, white ones with the Wii Motion Plus on the bottom, but it's more convenient to have the Wii Motion Plus built in. And also, one of my Wiimotes, I'm having an issue where it just won't turn on. You put the batteries press a button, press any button, and the lights don't flash. And I've had that with 3 Wiimotes now.
Really?
Where the lights don't flash. And it's like there's no batteries in it at all, but the batteries work in another Wiimote, or brand new batteries don't work either. So I can't figure it out. The only thing I can think of is that there's a fuse inside. Maybe the fuse blew or something like that. I got to take them apart. I had 1 or 2 of them that were like that I just threw away because I was sick of troubleshooting controllers. And now I've got 2 more of them, and I might actually tear them apart and try to figure it out. So yeah, that was my weekend of controllerness. Keeping or selling. I think I'm going to sell the GoldenEye one and keep everything else.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm sure that could almost recoup all of it. I think I'm pretty sure they sell for 30.
Yeah, they're around that for sure. And
it's in great condition. It looks like it's never even been used. He had the game too, but he wanted an extra $10 for it. I'm like, nope. All right, Katherine, how about you?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was even going to have anything for this list, because I don't buy a lot of stuff because my partner is Miles, and he does plenty of buying for the both of us.
Later on.
But we did go to Fan Expo last weekend, and there are some vendors there. And I don't even know the name of the store, but there's one guy who usually has like a ton of import stuff. Miles mostly is buying for PS4 now. Like that's the collection that he's really building. And so there's a lot of really good import stuff that we've gotten from this guy. He bought, so this is not mine, but Miles got Parappa the Rapper on PS4, a physical copy of that. And then I, for myself, bought Apollo Justice Ace Attorney for I guess is it a 3DS game, I think?
Probably.
DS or 3DS. I think it's a 3DS game. I don't even know. That's pretty bad.
I
But
think that one's DS.
is it DS? Yeah. Okay. And then DS. I have a hard time pulling the trigger on these Phoenix Wright games because I can never remember which ones I have. But I know for sure I don't have the Apollo Justice one. So I was able to get, and it was actually sealed. Yeah,
that's not how you're supposed to say it. You're supposed to say it like Pat Contry.
Sealed. It was. I don't know what that means.
That's all right.
What is that from?
From the Completely Unnecessary podcast, Pat Contry.
Okay,
that's fine.
Sorry, I don't know, but
Happy and Yes Punk, you know him.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's why he says it anyway. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Everybody seems to say it that way.
I just got a sealed copy. It was, I think, $40 plus tax, and I don't even know if that was a great price for it. Probably not amazing. Probably pretty close to what it's worth.
Yeah, probably pretty much. It says 26 new US.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. So, but I don't see it that often.
That's what I was going to say. I've never seen it either.
I've never seen it in the wild.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what, I'll pull the trigger this time, only because I really don't buy that much. We weren't spending a ton that weekend.
Payback to Miles.
Yeah, and that's the one series that I am trying to get for myself, just because I really enjoy the games. I haven't played a ton of them, but I know that I like the Phoenix Wright games, and then it's something that I can kind of keep my eye on because I'm not like a huge collector or anything like that. So I know that I'm going to play them, and if they're all pretty similar, right? I don't think there's much difference in the gameplay or anything like that. So,
yeah, I'm no expert on those. You'd have to talk to
just different stories.
Shelby, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, just different stories, but the gameplay and everything's the same. But I enjoy it. So, because I know that I'm going to play them and I'll probably like them, then I'm fine buying them. So. That's it. So yes, I'm keeping it.
Yep. That's fine. Like I said, I'm keeping stuff too. All right. What are we selling is the next section. Starting off with me. What am I selling? So I have all the stuff I have left over from Barrie Game Exchange to sell. I've actually been posting some of it periodically on Kijiji mostly. Well, actually, yeah, just Kijiji and a few things on eBay. So that's pretty much it. I've got a huge list of, I didn't even check how much money I have left or how much value I have left of inventory. So if I sold 900, but that's not quite everything. I don't know, like almost $2,000 worth of games left, I think, to sell anywhere, somewhere. I would be happy to get half that for them, but games and accessories and stuff. Stuff like controllers is like, I have a wireless Xbox 360 arcade stick. That just seems hard to sell because people want wired. It's just a random thing from the list that I can remember. Stuff that I've gotten all over the place. Yeah,
they want wired?
Yeah, they want wired because there's less latency, I guess. Okay. I don't know if it's accurate or if people just believe that. But when people are talking about competition, I think they want wired.
That makes sense.
Anyone who's willing to pay a decent amount at all, like not $20, want to get a wired one. Yeah,
that makes sense.
All stuff I want to get rid of because I have way too much stuff left over. It's all on a table behind me, but you can't see it. Thankfully. All right. Yeah, that's it for me. Not very interesting, not very detailed, but yeah. Katherine?
Yeah, Miles already, like, whenever we do a show, he just takes whatever we don't sell and gets a trade-in credit at usually at ANC Games. He can get a decent amount. So we don't have anything major left from Barrie, but I did find a copy of Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon for the 3DS, and I was going to play it, so I put it in my 3DS, and then I found another copy of it. So,
Like found in your apartment, you mean?
yeah, like
Not
I
like
like
on Kijiji and went and bought.
Well, I went and grabbed the case, assuming it was the one that I had put in my DS, and then when I opened it, there was a game inside. Like, wait a second. So I guess Miles picked it up because he remembers where all this stuff comes from, which I'm always impressed by. But he had bought like a really big lot from someone, and it was part of that. Like, it had come with
The loose
a
one
2DS. It was complete. So both of our copies
Yeah,
were complete. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that I put one in my DS and put the case down, and then I found a case somewhere else and assumed it was that one, and it wasn't. So now we have that for sale. But I usually leave, like, the selling I leave up to Miles. Like, he may bring it in for trade credit if there's like, if EB Games is having a deal where you get extra trade credit or something. But or like he's not been doing so much like eBay or anything like that, Kijiji, stuff like that. He's kind of taken a break from that. So most likely, unless we find someone who actually wants it, that we know that wants it, that he'll sell to, he'll probably just get trade credit as in like gas. I don't know.
I've been wanting to do that too, with trade credit. My problem is the stores in my area. One I don't like, another one I don't like, and then one more I like, but they don't take everything because they're a smaller store. And then the fourth one, which I want to deal with more, is the furthest one away, but they're actually moving very close to me, but they're in the middle of a move, so they're not buying anything.
But then it'll be super convenient.
Yes, agreed. And they'll also want inventory, so maybe it'll be a good time to go then right after they're done moving.
I'll give you a bunch of stuff. I'll give you some of Miles' stuff.
Yeah.
But Miles and all of his EB game stories. So he somehow finds a way to squeeze the most out of them for the trade credit. So I leave it up to him.
Yeah, I don't buy new games, so it doesn't work well for me. But if I could get a Switch completely paid for and a couple games, I would totally do it.
Yeah.
I have never taken anything into EB Games to do trades, so I need to do that sometime. I just need a heads up from Miles the next time there's a crazy deal.
I'll let him know.
Even a good deal.
He sent me today. There was like a coupon for, is it 2 for 1? No,
I did see. I went in there the other day.
Something for Wii U games.
There's Wii and Wii U, buy 2 get 1 for free right now.
Yeah,
yes, I did do that, but there was none in my store.
Yeah, there's hardly any Wii games now. They don't take them in anymore unless they're Mario games, basically.
Yeah, so we're lucky because we're in Toronto. We have the big flagship store that usually has a ton of stuff there. But Miles reminded me that he said that he's not going to buy games until at least Black Friday.
Unless he pre-ordered them.
Unless they're pre-ordered. But I feel like this may test him, this buy 2, get 1. Or it might... He'll just find a loophole and have me go buy the games for him or something like that.
Or he'll make me do it.
Yeah, I'll just go do it. I'll go buy it. But I liked the Wii U, and I like a lot of the games for it. So, we're not planning on getting rid of ours anytime soon. So, I would be fine getting some more games for it. Yeah. And it's backwards compatible to the Wii, so it's just an all-round convenient system, I find. There's enough good stuff on both of those systems.
I'm looking at picking up a second one right now.
Oh, really?
Probably to flip though. It's broken and it's $40. So,
do you think you can fix it?
It needs a battery. It needs a battery for the tablet. That's all he said. But then he said it also needs a charger for the tablet. But those two things I can get for like $40. So if I do $40 for the broken system, $40 worth of parts, and I got a working system, that would be good.
Are they selling for a lot now? I don't really.
I still see them listed for $200.
Really? Wow.
But I don't know if people buy them at $200 or not, or if that's only one. Like if the ones with games and controllers included sell for that. But still, if I got it for 40, put 40 into it to repair it, and I was able to sell it for 150, that'd be great.
Still worth it. Yeah.
Still worth it.
Yeah. We'll see. All right. And where were we? I'm getting lost. Selling, and we're on Hodge now. Hodge, what are you selling?
Yeah, obviously the stuff that I just picked up. I had 3 tables actually at the BGE myself. My wife ran them mostly, and I did okay selling there, but I still have a ton of stuff left over to move. A lot of the stuff is from yard sales this summer. I had a really good summer yard selling, so I've collected a lot of inventory. I have my little room over here, and it's a big mess right now. I'm trying to organize things, and I have an old dresser in there that I'm kind of sorting games through right now and organizing them all into systems. Like I have, I don't know, 30 or 40 Nintendo games right now, and I have like a dozen Super Nintendo games, and I have, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 PS3 games. So I got lots of stuff to go through right now. I have a Master System lot, but that is spoken for. I'm actually working out a deal with Bill, so hopefully I'm going to meet up with him, and I got a big deal, big trade going on there. But I'm going to try to sell most of the stuff, and I do trades. Like when I get inventory in, I have a few people that always come to me for stuff. I have a local person that's always looking for Nintendo and N64 stuff. So whenever I get new stuff in, I always contact them right away. And I recently sold him. It was about 5 games, and I gave him a whole bunch of dust sleeves, and I got $140 out of that stuff.
He's a collector, not a reseller.
He's a collector, yeah. He's a collector. So I got $140 out of him, and that stuff came from a lot that I bought for $160. And I got, you guys may have seen the picture. I got a complete inbox Nintendo with that lot, like the NES action set, with the styrofoam and everything. So I kept that. That's going in my collection. And then I still have another stack of games to sell. So I've already recouped my cost minus $20 right now.
Yep. It's good. That's awesome. It's exactly what I'm preaching.
Yeah. Best way to do it.
Yeah. Wicked. Do you know what percentage of stuff you would have sold in Barrie that you have, how much you have left kind of thing?
I only made about $600 in Barrie selling stuff. So I didn't make that much.
Is that only though?
Well, not
that
only.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, for people who have made a lot less. Now you did have 3 tables though. So.
I had 3 tables. I was hoping to do a little bit better than that. I think part of the problem is my wife, and she did the table, and that was awesome. But if I was working the table, and when I've worked tables in the past, you got to talk to people. When somebody comes up to your table and they're looking at stuff, you want to interact with them. You want to talk. You want to be where my wife just kind of sat back because she's
more reactive.
She's
not into the scene either.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, she likes playing video games and stuff, but not the selling aspect of it. She likes finding the deals, setting them up, and then I go pick them up and stuff like that. But
can I borrow her?
Yeah. So I have a
good pizza too.
Yes, thank you. She does.
Oh yeah, that pizza.
I have a feeling if it was myself or somebody else possibly selling, I may have done a little bit better. But I mean, there was a lot of tables there, so there was a lot of choice of people to go to. And I mean, I'm not going to scoff at, oh, I only made $600. I mean, it was good, and I'm happy. And I mean, that probably more than covered any money I spent this summer on yard sales. Like, I'm definitely way above. I don't keep a detailed list, and I think we'll talk about that later. I try to, but I know lots when I get a lot in, and then when I take stuff out of it and resell it, I know I'm ahead on everything. I've already made my money back on them, and I know I'm ahead.
Yep.
I can't think of a lot right now that I got in and not sold stuff and either recouped all of my costs or the majority of my costs.
And also you're probably finding stuff that you want to keep, right? So there's, that you can add that to the value of, finding something for your actual collection too. Right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, if I buy a lot of 10 games and I keep 3 of them and sell the rest, well, those 3 games, if they were worth $10 a piece, well, that's $30 there, right? So,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right. All right. Next section is our tip corner. Try and give a tip to the people. Katherine, you're first. You got any buying and selling tips to share?
I was just like, I don't know, be nice. I think you have to be friendly, but kind of to what Hodge was saying, like so a lot of the times I spent most of my time behind the table in Barrie, and I enjoy it. Like, I like being back there, but I'm not the best seller, which is why we do a lot of prep work before. So like our spreadsheets and stuff like that. This is the first time though that we didn't really put the other column, which is, you know, how low am I authorized? It's generally just so that I don't rip off Miles, really, right? Because this is like mostly his stuff. It's mostly his money that's going into it. So I want to try to help him make back his money. And so so we normally have that list. For this time though, because we didn't have as much stuff this time, we originally, like when it was planned, we were going to be part of the Cartridge Club's group sponsored tables. We were only going to have half a table, so we didn't have a ton of stuff. We were just able to spread out a little bit more once we found out that we were going to get a bit more space. So this time, instead of having, like, I've just done it enough times now that I have an idea of how low I can go for certain price games. But the ones I'm nervous about are the high ticket ones. Like, I really want to make sure that he gets at least what he's hoping to get or close to it. So for those ones, I made sure that he kind of marked down how low I could go for those ones. And any kind of, like, people come to the table a lot to trade. And I would always call in Miles for that. But I found that for, like Hodge was saying, like, part of it is talking to people. I know that when I go around to tables though, like, I'm an introvert and I don't know that much about video games. So when people like start talking to me, I get a little bit nervous because, like, I don't want to feel like I have to buy something from your table. But I think you do try to read kind of body language. I noticed this time around, like a couple times, like a familiar face would visit for like maybe the third or fourth time. And I know that there are people, like, I know P1 talks about it, and I think Pam as well. They just pay ticket price, right? They don't even ask. And Miles is Miles is always trying to get a little bit of a deal. Like, even if it's not much, like you feel good if you save like $5 or something like that. But I think that some people won't pull the trigger because of that, right? Because they won't ask. So sometimes, you know, it's happened to me at tables too, where you pick up a game and it's like, if it's ticketed, price is $20, and then they might just say, well, you know, I'll give it to you for $15. I might be more likely to buy it then, right? Yeah. So I feel like you kind of need to read a little bit of the body language and say, I think that guy's ready to buy, but like, maybe if I, you know, offer him to knock down the price a little bit, he'll actually pull the trigger. So I've done it a few times now. So now I feel like you get a little bit better about reading the clientele, maybe.
Yeah, I found I was too busy to do that, to read the clientele. I was just ridiculously busy there. I mean, I was going to talk about this later, but we brought our daughter too. That didn't help with being busy. But yeah, I want to do more of what you were doing. I try to avoid talking to people when I'm buying. I don't want to have a conversation when I'm buying or when I'm searching around.
I'm the same.
I look at it that other people want the same, and I think I'm probably wrong.
Well, I don't know. I'm the same with you guys. I don't want to be bothered when I'm looking for games. But if I'm selling, I'm the opposite. I want to talk to the people. I want to try to get them to buy. So,
yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm trying to think of a scenario where my talking is going to help them buy. I guess by saying the game's good, or like Katherine said, offering them a deal, or just being friendly, I guess, can help too. Because I've had that help.
Maybe it's counterintuitive as a seller to be the one offering a deal before being asked for one, right? Like, it seems
I'm so cheap, I can't do that.
Well, we're a little bit different. Like, for us, we don't want to bring anything back with us. You see Miles at the end of the shows, he's always like fire sailing everything, right? He was so excited to do that announcement, like at the end of the show, when it was just vendors.
Didn't I go over to your table?
It was just like vendors cleaning up, and Miles got on the announcement. The PA system was like, this whole box, $5. We just don't want to bring it back because we're not vendors. We're not, you know, we don't have a lot of space. And we're not collectors either. So we're just like really culling a lot of our inventory. So we're a little bit different in that. Like, I don't know if you're a vendor who goes to these things, like, you know, who builds your stock to sell, then your attitude is probably very different than ours.
Yeah, I can see people like that. I think the most of us are that way, that we are willing to get rid of it. I would have been happy if someone had come over and offered me half the sticker price for all my stuff, or even a third of the sticker price. I probably would have taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
Hodge,
just don't want to have to pack it up.
Yeah, that's true. It was really annoying to pack it all up. I almost didn't get back in the car, which is sad because I sold a fair amount of stuff. How'd you sell every time though? So were you the same way? Would you have preferred to just sell everything at half price or something like that at the end?
No, I wouldn't go as far as half price, but I mean, I would be happy to move stuff at a discounted price.
Yeah.
I got to make something off of it, obviously. I don't want to just break even, you know what I mean, at that point. And because I know there's other events and Kijiji and things like that, I don't mind bringing it back with me. This year, though, this is the first time I've had an abundance of inventory. Like I said, 3 tables worth. Normally, I have a couple little lots here or there, and when I know an event's coming up, if I'm going to an event, I will purposely seek out lots on Kijiji and things like that to buy before these events to try to make some extra coin. So this is the first time I've had an abundance of stuff, and I didn't mind packing it up and bringing it home and holding on to it.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, so moving on to me for this tip. We're dragging on, but that's okay. That's what this is for. So my tip, I wrote it down and I already forget it. I learned this the other day from experience, and that's why I wrote it down. So when even when someone rejects your offer, be nice and thank them for answering you anyway. I've had more than one time where a person replied back to me, accepting my offer, when they realized that that everyone else that was trying to buy from them was an idiot, even though the other person was willing to pay sticker price. They're just bad to deal with, not showing up, not answering, replying back with 2-word answers when you ask them several questions like, where do you want to meet and what time? So that's my tip is, just be courteous and kind, even if you're not getting the deal you wanted to get, because it's still possible that person will come back to you and give you for the price you wanted. I think I already told it on here one time before about the woman with the cell phone bill and her son. But that lot that I got they were asking $475 and I talked it down to $275. And 3 weeks later, they accepted the $275 because the son had raked up a big cell phone bill and they were trying to teach him a lesson. So they sold it all off to pay his bill.
Oh, wow.
All right. On to Hodge.
Yeah, this tip, I've said it in lots of my videos. There's probably lots of people that say it, but when you're at a yard sale or when you're at Kijiji or wherever, always ask if they have more, because 9 times out of 10, or even just if they have any video games in general, 9 times out of 10 at yard sales this summer, it was me asking, do you have video games? And it was stuff from inside the house that they didn't have out that we're selling to pick up and get.
I have a problem with not doing this. I did it for a while, especially when I was garage selling alone last year. There was a time period where my wife's like, I don't want to go. So at that time, I was asking more often, and I got a really good PlayStation 1 lot because of doing that. Well, not really good, but good value for what I paid. And I need to do it more. I need to make myself do it. I'm just too shy. I don't want to have to even make eye contact with people that are doing the garage sale. I just want to get in, look, and leave. But I know I've seen enough videos from CJR and Scott Squatch and heard from you all the deals you find when you ask. And I just need to man up and ask.
You have to. And where I live, we're almost a retirement community in my town. So there's a lot of old people there. And I get shot down a lot. They're old people. They're like, oh, we don't play video games. It's an older retired couple, right? They don't play video games.
I've heard that too.
But I mean, I went to one house and asked, and it was an older couple, but sure enough, they had a stack of Wii games because they had grandkids before, but they don't play them anymore. So I got a stack of Wii games. And I went to one house. There wasn't a single thing of video games out. And I asked, do you have any video games? And the guy, oh, I have an Atari 2600. So he goes in to get it, and when he came back out, he had a second box with a Nintendo in it. Like, I got a great score just asking, and always have to ask. You might not want to, but do it.
Any tips on how you ask? Sorry, Katherine.
That's okay. Oh, well, I was just going to say that Miles also specifically, like, we didn't do any garage sailing this summer, but I know when we went out, and I think you probably learned it from CGR, was to specifically say it out loud, like Dreamcast or Nintendo, Super Nintendo, because
I did that too.
Because they all think that anything older, like even 360 or older, you're not interested in. So you have to specifically say, because like, no, we just have old stuff. Like they think that you're only there to get PS4 and Xbox One stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of, we didn't go out this summer, but I was like, oh, we should go, because I bet you a lot of people are going to be dumping their Wii U stuff because they've all moved on to Switches, right? And they don't value that stuff, right? They've moved on to the new thing. Like casual gamers, they just move on, right? They don't hoard like
even
us.
3DS people will be passing that stuff off to get the Switch and
Yeah,
use their portable.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of that.
I just thought of that now when you were saying Wii U.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that was the thing
No,
I remember that Miles did.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going to ask specifically any tips on how you ask if they have more. Like, do you have video games? Or I've had a lady say, yeah, I have video games, then bring out a VHS tape. Like, it's a video.
Actually, the one thing, and I caught myself, and my wife recognized it in one of my videos when I was using the GoPro. She said, you got to switch how you're saying it. So I did, because a lot of the times I would go up and I would say, you don't have any video games.
I've done that too. Yep.
And you're using the negative, and that's easier for them to say no. So you need to stop. You got to go, do you have any video games? And then I do that. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation, older stuff.
Game Boy's a good one too.
Game Boy's a good one, yeah.
Especially the kids that are grown up.
Yeah, but that's it. Do you have any video games? And it works better too. If they happen to have something out there, if they have a PlayStation 3 game, pick it up. Hey, do you have any other video games like this? Maybe older stuff too. If they have stuff out there, odds are there's other stuff in the house.
Yeah, I need to force myself to do that more.
It paid off this summer. This is the first summer where I've done lots of yard sailing almost every weekend, and I got something every weekend. Not tons of stuff sometimes, but I had probably 3 or 4 really big scores over this summer, and it pays to ask.
Yeah, we go almost every weekend too, and we always end up with getting something, but it's usually for the wife or kids or shelves or whatever else, you know.
Yeah, I bought like 3 or 4 shelves this summer too.
Yeah, awesome. I have mine to put up still. All right, so at this point, we're going to take a break and do a little plug for another podcast.
This is Player One of the Cartridge Club, and I wanted to take a second to tell you about Bonus Barrel. BB is made up of developers, artists, and testers from within the gaming world, and they bring their knowledge and insight to every show. Topics ranging from gaming culture to development cycles, you don't want to miss what these insiders have to say. Every Wednesday, you can get your fill of Rob, Seiji, Lef, and Shelby wherever you listen to podcasts.
And we're back. Okay, our next segment here is story time. So anybody have a story to tell? These are generally about an experience or something you went through or some interesting lesson you learned. So I'm going to start off with just covering the Barrie Game Exchange. This whole podcast is kind of this episode is kind of a post-mortem for Barrie Game Exchange, considering we're all kind of sellers, vendors, or whatever else here. And the only way we can really learn from our experience of selling is by talking about it after the fact. So a lot of people have already talked a lot about Barrie Game Exchange, but I think very few people have talked about it from a vendor point of view. So that's what we're here for. I sold at Barrie Game Exchange, my first time selling ever at an event. I ended up selling $935 worth of stuff, including my wife's cookies that she sold that were Tetris themed. I think the cookies were $13 worth of it or something like that. I can't remember now. No, it's got to be more than that. I forget. I didn't write it down separately, but I have in my spreadsheet that I sold $928 worth of stuff. So that's my haul or my sales. Now, I also sold some of that stuff for a friend. She was giving me 30% commission, so I need to take all the stuff that was hers and I minus the money that I'm paying her for the things, essentially giving her profit. But so that's minus to that, and it was probably almost 100. It was $112 of that was hers, so that's not bad still. Yeah, moving on to the next thing. I was kind of planning on asking Hodge about Barrie from the organizer's point of view, since we are fortunate enough to have one of the organizers of the Barrie Game Exchange here. I had a few questions written down. Is that all right, Hodge?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. How did you think of using an ice rink? And I mean this in the best way possible because it worked out awesome.
Yeah, no, it was it definitely worked out amazing. Everybody I've talked to were blown away, like saying this is perfect, this is awesome. Basically, what it boiled down to is that was the largest surface available in our price range in Barrie to rent. Our previous place at the Red Barn Event Center, it was okay. The inside of the venue was nice, but there was a lot of problems outside with parking. I mean, people had to go park out in that field. I mean, if it had been
Finding it wasn't great either.
Finding it was in a bad location in Barrie. So we wanted to improve on our location. We wanted to have ample parking, good cell phone reception.
Yeah, I was going to say cell phone reception at the Red Barn was bad too.
Yeah. So I reached out to the city of Barrie and I knew they had some halls. Like they have the arena floor there and they have some other halls. And that was the biggest one we could get. It fit our budget and the time frame with those ice being out and everything worked perfect.
That's great.
And it's enough room there that there's tons of room for people to walk around. That was the thing I really liked about it is because the hockey rink's so big, you could walk on one side of the rows of table, on the other side of the row of tables, and you could probably fit two people side by side, no problem walking down that aisle. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You weren't butt to butt trying to squeeze through.
Yeah, there was still the regular. Someone's looking at this table and it's filled up. I can't look right now, but that's to be expected. Everybody does their little shuffle and moves down the tables. But in terms of when both tables are lined up, you can still walk between, and that's always a problem at the other swaps. And even your last swaps was crowded that way, just not enough floor space. I'm surprised that they even considered to give you that as an option for this event, unless they just went with square footage and told you what they had and never even thought of what it was being used for.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of told them what we were planning on doing. It was like we basically said it's like a trade show is what we're planning on doing, right? So they said that was probably the biggest enough area for you guys of what you would need to do.
Makes sense. They've probably done that before.
Yeah, and I mean, the time of year, they don't have anything else going on, right? So to them, it's a bonus that we want to rent it at that time of year. It's extra money for them where normally it would just sit dormant and nobody would be doing anything with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Were there more vendors this time than the last one?
Yeah, definitely more vendors. I don't do it by vendor. We do it by tables.
Yes.
Makes sense. So in the end, it was like 100, and it was either 152 or 154 tables.
Okay.
At our previous event, I believe it was 142 or 144. So it was around 10 more tables than our last event. But then we also added in the gaming areas. So we had the Cartridge Club Lounge where we had the thank you. You donated some of your stuff for the Cartridge Club Lounge for playing video games. And then we had some Magic the Gathering going on. We had a bunch of board game areas going on. So we expanded with adding all that new stuff in. So it was definitely a lot more tables and a lot more vendors.
I just want to say how impressed I was, because often when the first time that you introduce something like that, like everyone who goes there is expecting the vendor side of things, right? Like being able to go. But I was really impressed how busy everything else was, right? Like people were playing the board games, people were playing Magic, and they were playing like in the little arcade setup. And I was like, it did really well. Like you found the right people to run that, because a lot of times, like, I mean, Fan Expo, they struggled, I think, with the board game stuff when they first introduced it. Like nobody was there to play board games, and they tried to do, I think one of the other shows tried to do like a sports card section, and that lasted 1 year because they just couldn't drive enough people to it. So I was actually really impressed how well that turned out. So good job.
Yeah, that was kind of a concern of ours going into it. We knew we wanted to add this stuff to make it bigger and to draw in all geek culture. we hoped to add an extra 10 to 15 to 20 tables of that type of things, of board games, of Magic, of comics, of just collectibles and stuff like that. And we pretty much achieved those goals. I didn't know how it was going to pan out. The one that did the best, in my opinion, is Sir Games a Lot. He was in the one far corner, and he had some of the tabletop demos going. One was Warhammer.
He had Warhammer set up,
Warhammer, and he had a Star Wars game. But he did such a good job. Him and his group were playing the game and trying to get people involved and selling it. And I spoke to him after the show, and he said he had a good time. He's definitely down to come back next year. So we'll have to talk to him.
Where is his store? Is it in
He's
Barrie?
in the Barrie, in the one of the malls in Barrie. It's not the Georgia Mall. It is the Kozloff Mall, I believe, in Barrie.
Okay.
So he's down to come back next year. So I think we're going to try to reach out to him early and try to do some sort of partnership where he can do a running of maybe a bigger game area or something, and just have him do everything gaming related.
Yeah, like I saw a ton of people playing Warhammer, which is like a pretty intimidating game to just walk in. But I think they were really good about just try it, just see what it's like for 10 minutes or something. Like it wasn't like super daunting. Like you're going to learn this giant 300-page rule book in this, and then I'm going to figure out how to play. But, and I know like Ashley was super excited. Fraser's wife from PBG, his wife Ashley was super excited that there was board game stuff there because she's less into the video game stuff. But I saw her and she was like, "Oh, I bought a bunch of board games." Like, I didn't know they were going to have that. So it was really good at like drawing in like more interests, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Bayfield Mall, just so you know.
It's Bayfield. Okay, there's 3 malls in Barrie. I always get them confused.
No worries. All right, more attendees this year.
Definitely. So
I heard you guys ran out of tickets and making it out of paper or something.
I was starting to make it out of paper, and then I said, "You know what? Give me 10 minutes." I hopped in the car and I drove over to the dollar store in the middle of the show, and I went and picked up like raffle tickets you would have at a wedding or something.
Nice.
Yeah, our last 2 events we were pretty stale on attendance, where we hit the same number our last 2 events. So we were like, we gotta go big. We want to try to get more people there, right? The vendors want bodies in the door, right? The more people there, the happier the vendors are. And especially when you're adding more vendors, you need more people to help balance everything out. Yeah. So we sunk a lot more money into our advertising this year, with the fact we expanded to add these new things to a broader audience to bring in those other people. So our attendance, the last 2 events, was just over 400 people. We don't include the vendors in attendance. This is strictly who came through the door. And this past event, it was like 715 or so people. So
wow,
it was huge increase. Originally, I said I would hope to get around 500 or 600 people through, and I exceeded my expectations. So definitely was very happy with that.
That's awesome. My next question was going to be, was there more advertising?
Yeah, we put a ton more in advertising. About a month out, we start doing paid advertising on Facebook and stuff like that. We do paid advertising on Kijiji. We do the paid stuff in like Toronto and Barrie, and we also did some paid advertising in like the toy sections as well, not just strictly video games. So we promoted the aspect of board games and Magic the Gathering and comics like in the toy section, and then we would focus the advertising on video games in the video game section, and paid off. The other thing that really helped is YouTubers doing videos promoting the event, just people spreading word of mouth on Twitter and on Facebook shares and stuff like that. Sir Games a Lot, again, I'll go back to him. He did a video on his Facebook page that had well over 500 views saying he was going to be there. He actually did 2 videos. He was going to be there, so come on down, come check it out. So he said his customers enjoyed it because they would normally go to a store, but they came to our event, and then if they bought anything off them, they didn't have to pay taxes, so they kind of like that little bonus. So.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask how you did on your table, but we already covered that. And this was the 5th event. Mm-hmm. Why did you and Darby originally start Barrie Game Exchange?
So basically, I was a collector, and I went to Waterloo. I went to one of their shows way back in the day, like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 locations I'm trying to remember where it was. Like, have you been to all the Waterloo shows?
I haven't been to all of them. I've only been to them since they moved to the Rim Park.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so before Rim Park, they were at like a hotel, and then before that, I think it was another hotel type thing. So that was the very first one I went to, and I wasn't hardcore collecting then. I kind of just got into collecting, and I went there just to see, oh, what's this about? And it was pretty cool. I bought a few things, and it was neat to see. And then when I started getting more into hardcore collecting, I'm like, well, we don't have this in Barrie. I've told this story before. There's nothing close by that does this. There was nothing in Toronto. Their closest place was Waterloo. So I mean, 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
Let's do it in Barrie. There's a lot of people around here. So our very first event, I was hoping we would sell like 20 tables, do enough to cover the hall rental, and build from there. And we doubled that amount. We had like 40 some odd tables at our first show. Our attendance was, I think it was around 100 and some odd people that showed up for our first show, and we just built from there. And I feel we do a good job. I was listening to Retro Fandango today, and Kevin mentioned how each event we do, we just get better and better. Where people will tell us, "Oh, you don't need to do anything; it was perfect," but we'll do something more, we'll add to it, and it just makes it better. So it was nice to hear that. I mean,
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, thank you. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, or sound
Toot,
arrogant,
toot.
but I think we do. I think we do a great job. I think we put on a good show, and hopefully we'll continue to keep doing it.
Yeah, I can't even think of what you're going to do next to do it even better.
Ponies.
We'll figure it out, I guess.
Ponies,
Pony
we'll have
rides.
a petting zoo.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So you're next, Hodge. I was drilling you the whole time, but you're up.
Yeah, so a good experience I had with a buyer, and it was a fairly recent one. I saw an ad on Facebook, but a local Facebook group, and it was a Nintendo hookups, 2 controllers, zapper gun, and I think there was 3 games with it. The guy only wanted $40 for it. So I was the first person to contact him. Hey, I'll pick this up today. Let me know. And he responded saying, okay, we're trying to work out an agreement on when I could meet up. And then other people started commenting, oh, I'll take that. I'm next. Oh, I'll take that. I'm next. Oh, I'll give you more money.
Yeah.
And the guy goes in the thing, oh, geez, maybe I'll start a bidding war. But he didn't. Stayed true to his word. He met me up. I met him like a couple hours after the ad was up. And he met me, took my money, gave me the stuff, like kept his word. I've had lots of deals like that, but then I've had the other end of the spectrum where you have the people that are like, "Oh, sorry, I got a better offer." So if you got to give me $10 more and then it's yours. Like,
yeah, I get that on Kijiji. Around here, we have the biggest Facebook group in my area is like over 40,000 people, and they have ridiculous rules. Like, you can't say mine, you have to say interested, and you can't back out it's just ridiculous. You can't buy for someone else, you can't sell for someone else.
Really? Wow.
If you don't show up more than twice, you're kicked out of the group. It's crazy actually
Jeez.
curious how many people there are now, but the rules kind of make sense because it's such a huge group. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's way more people.
Do they
now.
rate the buyers and stuff too? Like, I know there's
they have like a group of approved by sellers, and they have so 47,000 people. So
that's a lot of work to keep that all intact.
They have like 7 admins, and they're all like stay-at-home moms. It's crazy, like crazy work, and they're a little bit too strict, but I can't totally blame them. But like, I've gotten a warning before because what did I do? Anyway, I'm going way off topic, but I think I told the girl I said interested, but I didn't confirm pickup time publicly for everybody. I asked a question. To her directly, and they said that wasn't allowed. And even though I was around the corner from her house, the next person got it instead of me. I can't remember what the hell it was.
Wow.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like,
That's
I was
super
right
strict.
there,
Yeah,
money
no
in
kidding.
hand. Yeah, really strict, but it's a lot of people to manage. Anyway, that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just you have the good, you have the bad.
Yeah, they would kick that person out if they changed that to a auction. Basically, is what I was trying to get at originally.
Yeah.
All right, and Katherine.
Oh, I was just going to talk about our limited run games. Like, we we were buying a bunch of them, but only if we either know the title or if we like watch a trailer or something. Say, oh, that looks pretty interesting. Like I bought Plague Road and Ocean Horn. I think those were the two I got because they looked interesting to me. Like, oh my God, I would probably play those games. But the one that Miles really, really wanted was Night Trap. And it was the day that right before Barrie, actually. So all of the Cartridge Club people were coming in on that Friday. And I tried in the morning. So the problem is Miles and I both can't access the website from work, and we're at work when the morning sale goes on. So I do my best to order it from my phone. And I've been really lucky a bunch of times, but of course the one time for Night Trap, I just made like you have to run a perfect checkout, right? Like you have to, everything needs to be logged in. You have to like click the right address and make sure everything's properly set up. And I made one stupid mistake, and then I didn't get it, so I said I'll try again after work at 6. But Miles was going to be, he was actually with Julian Vega, the Latin legend.
Yep.
He was with him at the time, so I said, okay, well, I'll go home, I'll try, and then I'll meet up with you. And I went home, I tried, it was just impossible. That one was so hard to get. And
Next
so
time, tell me.
I texted Miles and said, sorry, I didn't get it. And he texted back, oh, don't worry, thanks so much for trying. And then 2 minutes later, my friend that I work with, a good friend of mine, Colette, she's Monkey Girl in the forums and stuff. She actually plays along with the Cartridge Club games and stuff, but she's not that active in it. But she messaged me, she sent me a text, and she was like, oh, were you able to get Night Trap? And I said, oh no, like I tried and it didn't happen. And then she texted me back. She's like, okay, well, I got you a copy. She was not at all interested in buying the game for herself. She just knew that I really wanted it. And just in case I didn't get it, she thought she would try. And she got a copy. So I immediately text Miles and was like, oh my God, Colette got us this copy. And when I actually met up with him and Julian afterwards, he was like, it was like a roller coaster. Julian saw it all. I was like so sad and depressed, and then like on a dime just flipped and was like freaking out because he couldn't believe he got it. And then just to show good karma, when we found out about the SNES Classic pre-sale, Miles and I both tried, and we actually were both also very lucky. We each got one, and Colette tried and she didn't get one. So to pay her back, she's getting a SNES Classic. Like,
Nice.
So there's good karma involved, but the limited run games, it really is just a crapshoot whether or not you get it.
If you really want a Ys Origins collector's edition for Vita, I will have one. Because I ordered it for P2 in case he didn't get it.
See, like that's
so
awesome.
Julian Vega,
I think a lot of people did. I bought the PS4 one, and I
Okay.
was like, I don't even know what Ys is, but everyone keeps talking about it. I was like, well, maybe I should get the collectors just in case. And I just know, like, also it sounds like a game that I would like. And Miles, like I said, he likes collecting for PS4, so having a collector's edition is totally fine. So we have our copy of that coming.
All right. Mine will probably be going on eBay if no one in the Cartridge Club needs it after I receive it. All right. Next thing is questions / discussion. So we kind of just talk about our collections and tracking stuff here. And Hodge, you're first. How do you track your purchases and sales? You kind of started talking about this a little bit.
Yeah, so at the beginning of this year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a good job. I'm going to track everything in a spreadsheet. Everything I buy, I'm going to put in there, price out what I got for it. And I was doing good up until the summer, and then yard sale season hit, and there was just so much stuff coming in. It was hard to just put it in there and take that time. Like I'm lucky with my job. I have time at my work that I can do some stuff like this. And I was doing a good job. I would put in literally every game. If it was a lot of games that I paid $50 for, I would divide that 50 up between every game. Okay, this is what I paid for that game. And then if it was stuff I was selling, it would go in my sell spreadsheet portion of it. If it was stuff I was keeping, I would go in my keep, so I would track how much money I'd spent of the year towards video games, and it just kind of went downhill there. So I unfortunately have given up on that. Maybe I'll start it again next year. We'll see. But I'm no longer tracking purchases and sales on a spreadsheet. I know in my mind where I'm at, if I'm ahead or behind, basically, but that's about it.
Eric, Mighty Q Dog, is dying a little inside right now.
Yeah.
We're abandoning spreadsheets. We're just using it. We're just using memory.
All right, and I mean, if you had a spreadsheet, I asked you if you had any fun statistics. But how about total games?
Yeah, so in my personal collection, I have 1,356 games right now. It's a little out of date because there's a few things I need to add in and a few things I need to subtract, but that's where I'm at right now. And I use Game Value Now right now is what I'm using to track my collection.
Okay.
I was doing it in an Excel spreadsheet, but Game Value Now offers a collection portion in it now, so I entered everything into there.
There's no app for that, just the website, right?
No app right now, yeah, just the website.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Because with an app, you can always do it offline, right? So if you are somewhere with poor coverage, you still see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, just curious. All right, Katherine, I see your answer here in the document.
It says not really.
Do you track purchases and sales?
I don't. I definitely don't. But again, I don't make that many purchases. But Miles was doing it for quite a while and taking really good track of it. So at least the one thing, we make fun of him a lot about like his spending and not spending, but just like collecting, like buying probably
Everything.
more than he needs to. But I didn't know, like he was really, really careful about like really paying attention because it's one of those things. And like you said, Hodge, like all of a sudden there were so many lots available like this summer. You're not expecting that, right? So
Yeah.
So things like that could totally get out of hand. So when Miles was like knee deep in the buns trades and stuff like that, he was
in the buns.
oh, sorry. he was taking really, really careful, like anything he spent on anything or any purchases he made, right? So he was really keeping track of at least that number of if he was in the red or black, right? And exactly by almost exactly how much he was up or down. So he took a lot of care monitoring that. But now that he's not, like, he's pretty much retired from that because and so he's less concerned about it. Like we still try to keep, we don't want to suddenly have spent like thousands of dollars that we just forgot to keep track of. But for the collection, though, a long time ago, I cataloged everything, at least everything that we were keeping, especially because we have the YouTube channel. So we were trying to like keep track of what games we had that we could play, that we have played, but it is super, super out of date. And we keep talking about it, especially now that we've culled our collection to mostly games that we're pretty sure we're going to play someday. If we time allowing and if we live long enough, we will play these games. But so I think that is a project for me because it's the kind of thing that I really like doing is just keeping track of our actual collection. So I couldn't tell you how many games we have, but it looks like a lot when I look over at them.
I was gonna say, are they all on one shelf too, or
we have like, it's super annoying. Like our shelves are deep, right? So every shelf we have is stacked too deep.
Yeah, I hate that.
It's super annoying.
I just saw a picture on Q-Dog, Mighty Q-Dog's shelf where he was on the collect call and he had one shelf that was stacked too deep. And I'm just like, you can't see anything behind.
I know.
It's no matter, but it's a matter of space, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think because he's like mostly like the PS4 collection is his baby. So I feel like once we, organize things and get everything cleared out, that's the one that we'll probably try to display nicely. And then everything else, just as long as I know that we own the game, I don't mind going to dig for it.
Yeah.
So
probably use some app or something on your phone, or what are you planning on doing?
Well, right now it's in just a Google Doc and I have like it's got like, I don't know, 20 tabs for each like one for each system.
Yeah.
And then it just has like a dashboard sheet at the front that just summarizes what I have. So
gotcha.
I like anything that like auto tallies and stuff. So so I do those like like they're not super nerdy, but you know, if I put in a title, then it adds one to the. So once it's up to date, it'll be really easy for me to tell you how many games I have. It's just not at all up to date. So next time, I'll tweet you when it's up to date.
I want to know. I want to see it too. I want to see the picture of the shelves all organized.
Okay.
All right. Next section is listener questions, and we got quite a few. Actually, I should double check and see if there's any new ones as well, because I haven't checked since today while I was at work. I'm assuming there won't be any new ones. If only I could type. Why is it not working? Yeah, there we go. No, nothing new. Good. That makes it easier. Okay, so let's just start going through here. We start off with the first question from Buried on Mars. And the question was, who are the guests? It's Hodge and Kathryn. Thank you, Mars. Mighty Cute Dog says, what is it like being a vendor at Barrie Game Exchange? How did you deal with, how did you do dealing with hagglers? And did you meet your sales targets? I'm just going to answer this first. I was busy. We brought our baby because she was sick on Friday. She was supposed to be being watched by my sister, but we didn't want to do that because she was sick and we didn't want to get our kids sick. So I was really busy. I was really busy vending. I only got out to look at tables one time near the end. And I barely remembered to eat. Thank you, P1 and Colleen, for bringing us cheeseburgers, or else I wouldn't have eaten at all. And I only had a few low ball offers, nothing crazy low. I only had to say no to offers about, I think, 3 times total is what I was trying to remember. When I knew my price was already more than fair, and it was something that I knew I could sell sometime easily. Right. Hodge, what do you think?
Well, I'm like you. I mean, I didn't sell. I was at my table a couple times, but I was just too busy. But when I do sell, I can't focus on anything else but my table and selling. I barely eat. I hardly go out and look. And if I do go look at other tables, all I'm thinking about is my table and what's going on back there. I'll go look for 2 seconds and then I got to go back. That's my focus if I'm selling. But we did well at my table. I would have liked to sell more, but I did okay. I was happy. My wife did most of the work there at the tables, so should have been a question for her. I should ask her.
Did you meet your sales targets? That's the last.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure.
I exceeded mine. I forgot to answer that part. I far exceeded mine. I would have been happy if I made $500. I mean, I'm still in the hole on my gaming altogether, my collection altogether. I'm in the hole $253 if anybody's curious. But I just made some recent purchases. There's some stuff I'm keeping, and I also bought, like I said, Yee's Origin for $100 shipped. And I also bought the Retro Fighters N64 controller. So 2 retail things that are fairly expensive. And the Yee's I'm definitely planning on not keeping because I have no interest in playing that. Okay, and then Kathryn.
I don't think we set any targets. Ours is mostly an inventory thing, so we just want to come home with, like, if we bring 3 boxes, if we come home with less than a box, that'd be great. So but when we did well, I think I was just trying to look, we have a sheet with it, and I was like ballparkish 900. Something like that. And then that allowed Miles to get those 2 Shantae games that he really, really, really wanted. And they're expensive, but we felt like we did well enough. And honestly, like it's you know, he invests most of the money into the stuff that we sell anyway. So he can spend it however he wants. And that's how he chose to. And I like he didn't know if he should, but I was like, you really want those Shantae games. So I don't see them getting any cheaper anytime soon. So, and it was from Creep Elite, so we were happy to, you know, spend at his table. So, and hagglers, I say yes to almost everything because the big ticket stuff I generally leave to Miles. Like if I'm unsure, I will ask them to come back. I'll point out Miles if I can see him. I'm like, go talk to that guy, and he can work out it. Like if he's willing to work out a deal, then I leave the hard stuff to him. But for me, I'm I'm selling mostly just like $10 or less or $20 or less. So it's
Okay.
people don't really haggle for that too much.
Yeah, wasn't bad for me either for that low ones. All right. Next question from Mrs. Q Dog. She says, "My question is too long for Twitter to handle." She attached an image of her question. How do you determine if you're going to sell at an expo like Barrie Game Exchange? When do you have when you have a certain number of games, no matter the price point, or do you sell if you only had, say, if you only had 15 to 20 games, but they're all heavy hitters and worth a lot? Is it based on value of the games, or the number of games, or both, or something entirely different? I'll read my answer that I wrote before already too. I've been meaning to sell for over a year now. I just needed the inventory and the courage to do it. I was aiming to have enough to fill a table and a few extra things to throw on the table when stuff sells. Some people space things out when they have less things, like say a lot of heavy hitters. They'll have a table that's very sparse and table games just laid out flat. I've seen that a couple times or several times. I plan to calculate the total sticker value and make sure it was worth my time to for the money of the table and the my own time to pay myself or whatever. You know what I mean? If I'm going to spend 4 hours, give yourself $10 an hour or whatever. But I never did do that, and it was fine. A few big items. Sorry, I also wanted to make sure I had a few big items that I got cheap and I knew I could make enough off of, and they would also sell to make it worth my time going there. And I had a couple of those, and I think most of them did sell. Okay, so let's go Hodge again.
Yeah, if I know I'm going to sell or I want to sell, like I said before, I'll purposely go and seek out lots on Kijiji. I will go into all of my thrift stores and my hawk shops, and I will buy inventory purposely. I'll look at games and go, okay, I know I can, even if it's only, I can make $5 off that, I'll pick it up so I have some more inventory, and it's something I know I'll move. I'm not going to buy something that's obscure or harder to move. I'm not going to go buy a Halo game if it's really cheap, because that's going to be really hard to sell. But if it's a rare Wii game or Wii U game that I know people are going to want, or if it's a Mario game or a Donkey Kong Country, I'll pick that up every day of the week. I prefer having more stuff than just 15 to 20 games of a heavy hitter. I like having a full table. I've seen it work. Sorry?
Or three.
Or three, yeah. I've seen it happen. Darby and I shared a table. Normally when I go to a different event, I'll share a table with him. And he had about 10 heavy hitter games and a stack of manuals, and he did way better than I did. Everybody was interested in his stuff because he had the heavy hitter stuff. So sometimes it works that way. In my mind, I don't know why. I just don't see it that way. I don't like it. I don't know. Maybe I just think more is better, or there's more variety for people to choose from. But
yeah, that's the way I look at it too, is the way you do. But I don't buy a lot of heavy hitters. Maybe that's why.
Well, and that's the other thing. I'm not going to go drop big bucks on a heavy hitter to try to sell it. I'm the 10, the 20, maybe the $30 games that I would pick up.
Yeah, if I can get a heavy hitter for $20, I'll be happy.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll do that every day of the week.
Yeah. Right. Katherine?
I forget what the question was.
How do you determine if you want to sell at an expo?
I think that it's all Miles, and he always buys the tables, but I think part of it is we actually like having a table. We really enjoyed it. I think the first time we went to Barrie, or like not the first time, but the first time we vended was at a Barrie Game Exchange, and it was just nice to have somewhere to put your stuff. And home base, and especially when you're Miles and you buy lots of stuff, you need to offload it somewhere. You can't carry it around all day. And also just, it is a nice way to interact with people. Like we're both pretty introverted, but it's very different behind the table than it is from behind the table than it is on the other side, right? As it's a very different experience being a seller. And when we did it, we both really enjoyed it. Like even leading up to the show, like preparing for it was kind of like a fun activity for us, like pricing games. I mean, in the moment it's a little annoying, but we realize that we're just like spending a night together, like the TV's on or whatever, and we're just Miles is pricing games and I'm making the spreadsheets so that we have something to work from. And so we enjoy it, and that's pretty much all we base it on. I don't know if we'll have enough to sell this time. Like before, Miles was like, when he was doing all the buns trades and stuff like that, that was very much to get inventory to sell at places. But now that he's less obsessed with that, we don't have as much stuff to sell. So I don't know if we'll still get a table, but we enjoy having one. So if he ends up getting some stuff or deciding to cull more of the collection, then we probably would
with someone maybe next time too.
Yeah, for sure. We enjoy having that option. So.
And also, just to interject, Sherry, a little bit of a trade secret here. If you get a table, you're in the doors well before anybody else. So if there's specific stuff you're looking for, it's easier to find it and track it down before anybody else gets in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of walk-bys from other vendors as you're setting up, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm going to come back to this table." And
I actually sold most of my money or most of my stuff to vendors before the doors opened.
Exactly.
Like I think I made $260 sale, and I think the other one was 180.
There's like one guy who does it every time. He's done it to us the last 2 times where he just like comes by and is like, "Oh, I need this." He has like a laundry list. He just kind of comes in. It's like it was like grocery shopping. He was just picking stuff up. Like, I need this, and this.
Yeah, the one guy I had bought a whole bunch of stuff, the $260, and then he went away and came back with a friend of his and said, "This is the table." And then that guy bought a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh wow.
I tried to keep my prices low, and I think that helped. They were buying mostly common stuff, like both my Zeldas for NES, Zelda 1, Zelda 2. So I assume they were just going to resell it. I don't know for sure. And
Right.
they grabbed my Mario RPG complete in box.
Oh wow.
And that price pretty reasonable too. I think I had $130 or 125 maybe. Anyway, next question is from Travis. Trav plays games of Polykill podcast. He said, "What active god, hurricane, tornado, or volcano mostly threatens where you live? Do you have a plan of action to for your stuff in such an event?" And then he replied again, said, "Oh, I forgot to use the hashtag, and I realized you all live close to each other. So my question really is probably moot, but try and answer it anyways. Be creative." Yeah, my answer is we're all in Ontario, and I think where we live, there's pretty small chances of tornadoes, unless I'm wrong with you, Hodge. You're not in the tornado belt, right?
No, not at all. We've had 2 major tornadoes over the last 50 years or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So I said
remember one big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the bigger problem for us is really winter storms, ice and driving storms.
Yeah.
Especially in long road trips.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think for us is ice and snow.
There's also bad cottage drivers. So summer driving is pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm sure both of you guys get more bad cottage drivers than I do.
Yeah. Heading north. Well, Hodge is already in cottage country. So
Exactly. So they're all there.
yeah, he
where
doesn't have to
they're
worry
going.
about it.
They're gone now, so we're good.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Next question or next response is from Katherine, and it's "Don't ask me questions."
Yeah,
To
that
which-
backfired.
To which Mighty Q Dog said, "Why doesn't Katherine want us to ask her questions? What's she hiding?"
That's none of Mighty Q Dog's business.
All right.
I have my reasons. No, I don't know. I just didn't know what kind of questions they were going to ask. So
We got all kinds. Okay, so Bill said from STC Pod, he said, "Does Katherine still get shaken, afraid, uncomfortable when she sees the STC boys approach her vending table?" Katherine?
STC on their own they're not bad. It's when Kevin is also there. If Buried on Mars is there, then that's when things seem to go awry, and I at least need to observe, because the stories that get told about our table, I need to be there to make sure. Yeah. Someone needs to have the true story of what happens at our table. So no, but it's fun. And that is another reason why it's fun having a table, because all those guys will just come and hang out with you right at your table, and it gives them a place to to sort of hang out when they need a break from walking around the floor and stuff, right? So you do need a break. Like, you just can't keep circling the floor over and over and over again.
That's what I usually do.
It's nice to have somewhere to just like rest for even just for a few minutes. So.
Yeah. And my answer to that question is everybody gets uncomfortable when Bill's around because they don't want to receive an offer that includes pocket lint. All right. Next question is from Creeply Josh. He says, how do you rate your sales success from Barrie Game Exchange to other sale platforms? And where do you have the most success selling your items for the most profit? Hodge?
Most profit, yeah, probably at a vendor table at an event, whether it's Barrie, whether it's Waterloo or Cambridge or Durham or Toronto, wherever. I think that's probably where I get my most profit. I don't look at it just sales numbers as in cash. I also look at it what you can flip and trade stuff for. A number of swaps ago, I traded a stack of stuff that I didn't have that much money invested in, but quite a bit of stuff. And I swapped it for a copy of Chippendales 2 on the NES. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a pretty good deal and a good way to pick. So I would include that. I don't actually own that anymore. I ended up selling it. So I guess in the end, I did get money for all that stuff. But yeah, I think at events for sure.
Do you find competition with other tables hinders that at all?
I find my prices are pretty good. I go a little bit lower than what market value is. So yeah, there's competition, but I feel once people see what my prices are, they'll come back to where I am. And I'm always open to deals and bundles and stuff. I'd always tell people that when I...
And trades, as you said, yeah.
And trades too, right?
Yeah.
So
yep. Cool. Yep. Katherine? You said you don't really do Kijiji very often?
Miles has sold stuff. Like, for a while, he was selling stuff on eBay and also some lots on Kijiji. But I think just in terms of maybe time and effort, like with that return on investment and time and effort, the game exchange is just easier, right? You can price out a ton of stuff, move a ton of stuff. Miles generally prices to move, and he'll, except for maybe the bigger items. So if he's going to make enough on a bigger item, then he's perfectly happy to get rid of volumes of stuff for maybe less than you could get otherwise. But the amount of effort it would take to sell all that other stuff on Kijiji or whatever, that's just, and we don't drive also, so that hinders us a little bit for Kijiji. But I don't know, like, that's more of a question for Miles than it is for me. But I think, like, just the vendor stuff is just a one-time get rid of tons of stuff and with very little effort comparatively. I think, like, I do a lot of the mailing for Miles. So when he was selling stuff on eBay, there would just be like a stack of stuff. And because I could go on my lunch break, I work close to a post office, and it was like, okay, so when he was doing eBay stuff, it's just work for both of us, and like, but he would use it for stuff that he felt like he could get maybe the best deal out of eBay. He wouldn't do it otherwise, I don't think, because you would probably get enough from a vendor table or something like that, right? So
yeah. But
if he was having a hard time moving something, then maybe he would use eBay. Sorry.
Okay. All right. And my answer, I think I did great in Barrie. I'm very happy with the results. I wish I would have sold more of my stuff. Like, I didn't have to bring it home would be nice. Because now I got to, piecemeal it and sell it on Kijiji or eBay. Even if I could have liquidated it to a store near the end or something like that, would have made me happy. I always find that different items sell better in different places. I've had a lot of success on Kijiji and also on eBay. Barrie was also awesome, especially for my first time vending. I'm not too sure what my plan is going forward at this point. I don't know if I plan on selling at another event like that or not. I'm kind of tired of having so much stuff in my house, always in the way. And so is my wife. So I don't know if I'm going to be building up inventory again. I think I probably built up inventory too much this time for what I should have brought, because my table is kind of crowded and stuff. But there's also things I meant to bring that I didn't, like more modded Xboxes and stuff like that. And for what specifically sells better on eBay, like I sold Funko Pops on eBay. I took them to Barrie, and I don't think anyone was really interested at all. They were just too expensive, too uncommon of Funko Pops, and the price might have been set too high, but I was hoping to get offers on them. So yeah, eBay stuff. I just find those kinds of things. Any rare or collectible games, definitely Guitar Hero dongles. Those things are going to sell definitely on eBay better than you're going to sell in person. And niche games, like let's say Alice Madness Returns, I would think something like that's going to sell better. And those Madden 3DS games, those would sell better on eBay or even Kijiji than they would in a swap, I think. Just a different type of item for a different type of buyer.
I actually think Miles sold Def Jam on eBay because that was the best place to sell it.
Yeah, I would think so. I think locally people don't value it quite as much as its price has gone up.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, moving on. This question is targeted definitely at someone specific. It's from at FlockOfNerds. At what point do you leave your significant other because they spend too much on video games? Dollar amounts, please. So I think that's targeted to Hodge. No, I'm kidding.
Let's see. At what point he's sitting right beside me. I don't know if I should say. You know what? If there was a dollar amount, it would have been far surpassed by now. So I think he's in the clear.
I think him keeping you involved is what's helping him.
Yeah, you know what? I said I didn't play that many games growing up, and so like I'm like definitely getting into it more as an adult than I ever did, and you know, meeting Miles is a big part of that. Yeah, for sure. Like definitely retro gaming. Like I wouldn't have been that into like that stuff. I started at PS2 really proper, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to comment. Like,
yeah,
my wife loves this because it's the thrill of the hunt. Finding the deals on the Kijiji or on a Facebook group, and going, oh geez, look at this is a great score, you can get these games in it and they're only asking this price and maybe they'll knock it down this much. And she's so involved with me with that aspect of it. It's awesome. I mean, she likes to play games too, and she played back in the day Nintendo and stuff like that. And like Katherine, I know my wife's obsessed with Stardew Valley.
Oh my god, I just got it for PS4. I'm so excited because
that's what she's playing it on.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's got her certain games that she loves. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I might as well answer too. My wife's getting more into it. She's, telling me about deals she sees on Facebook and asking if it's a good deal or not. She's getting to know what things are worth, and she's getting interested in it more. She definitely likes finding deals. I think she just doesn't have the knowledge to know whether something's a deal or not yet. She's definitely getting better, and
just
she
give her
always
time.
likes thrifting. So yeah. So it's gonna help, and she definitely likes playing games. She always has enjoyed playing games. It's her brother's fault for that, the Tony of Two Dorks with me, and it's I think Contra with Girlfriends Versus may have helped as well. So
yeah, that was awesome.
More
That
of
was
that.
so good.
Okay, next question is from Cartridge Bros P1. Would you let high value games go for less to move them, or hold on to them until a buyer met your asking price? So I kind of answered this here in text. Depends on what I paid for it, how long I've had it, how easy of a sell it is. I generally try and sell things fast, so lower price. If I'm selling something on eBay, I usually price at or below the lowest price I see, unless theirs is not good at pictures, not as good a condition, or located somewhere further away, so the shipping will be higher, right? Some of the items I put a price a bit higher if I overpaid on it, like Contra that I'm selling for NES that I bought for Girlfriend Versus and overpaid on. But if it's high demand or in great condition, I'll put it higher. I often have resellers buying from me, both on Kijiji and at the Barrie Game Exchange, as I was talking about. Half my sales at Barrie Game Exchange approximately were to resellers, or to resellers, maybe not for themselves. I don't know for sure if they're reselling. I'm just happy to get the stuff out of my house and have more money to put towards my games sooner. Pricing higher could have resulted in not selling them at all. I also like giving people a deal, which is something I saw someone had replied to him on Twitter with that. I like someone else getting a deal too. Ideally, I like getting the deal, but I like giving other people deals too. It's nice to make other people feel good, as long as I'm not screwing myself. Katherine?
Yeah, I think that I think we're happy to let stuff go if it's less than our asking price, because I think our asking price in most people's are probably higher, or the most that you would expect to get from it, right? So getting a little bit less isn't that big a deal. I think also, it depends on the person. Like, we'll give friends really good deals on stuff, or if it's even just someone who's like, I've been looking for this game forever and I've been able to find it, and you're happy to give those people, to cut them a deal on something that that will just either complete their collection or fulfill some kind of nostalgia in them that
That you
that they've been,
appreciate.
yeah, right. Like it's true. Like it's makes you feel good too. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Hodge?
Yeah, mine follows both of your answers. I mean, it all depends how long I've had it, what I paid for it. As long as I'm not losing a ton of money, I would probably do it. Also, if it's to a friend, well, that's a no-brainer. If it's a friend or somebody of a friend that I know really wants it and is not going to resell it or things like that, I got no problem doing that for sure.
Makes sense. Okay. And our next questions are from Buried on Mars. He says, Katherine, what's your most embarrassing story of all time?
I don't know. I don't know what I would share here. I'm just kidding. I can tell you my most recent embarrassing thing. I asked the internet not to ask me questions, and then the internet asked me a bunch of questions. So I've learned that lesson, but it wasn't so bad. I was just like, I don't know what kind of questions they're going to ask, and of course, leave it to Kevin to ask one that would expose some things, I suppose. But no, I can't really think of anything crazy embarrassing.
I expected his question quality to get better when he knew who it was.
No, I feel like he likes to make people squirm. So
yes, he does.
That's okay.
I was really hoping for hard-hitting questions. I know he's capable. I think he just likes being a jerk more. Okay. And his next question, to build on that, Hodge, what's your most embarrassing story about Katherine?
Well, there was this one time, let me tell you. No, yeah, I got nothing there. It's just Kevin being Kevin.
I agree. Okay, so moving on, the next section is suggested content. This is anything you want to share with the listeners to check out, a YouTube channel, podcast, video, anything like that. You're up, Katherine.
I can't remember what I put.
You put.
Oh, I
Go
see.
ahead.
Yeah, it's actually it's more of a recommendation of a game that Miles and I played recently with Chris from Flock Talk and his wife Nina. And it's called That's You, and it's the PlayStation. It's called PlayLink, and it's their sort of multiplayer system where you use your mobile phone to participate, kind of like Jackbox Party Pack. I was like, what is it called? I can't remember. But it's one of the best versions of that type of party game. We had so much fun playing it. It uses the camera on your phone, so you take pictures of yourself, and then different games, like we'll say you'll get a picture, I'll get a picture of Miles, let's say, and it says make him look like a pirate, and then you have to draw on him, and then you vote on who you think is the funniest or whatever. And it's really, really well done, and it looks really cool. Like every mini game has like 5 levels, 5 stages to it, and they're themed, right? So it might be campfire or Vacation or something, but they all look like Wes Anderson movies. It looks so good and it's so much fun. I think it can play up to 6 players or something like that. So it's not as big as something like Jackbox, but it's like if you're hanging out with friends and you all have phones, it was a really good one to play. And it was free, I think, for a little while. I don't know if it still is. Is it? It still is free, so should totally get it if you're a PlayStation Plus, I think.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded. I haven't played it yet, though.
Oh, and then even the app itself has we didn't play it, but the app comes with, you have to get an app on your phone, and it actually has a few games that you can play without your PlayStation. So if you have enough people, it's a pass around game. So I think you play, one person has the app, and then you can play a game just sitting around without, you're not around a PlayStation, which is cool.
Yeah. I tried that Jackbox one time on PC when it was on sale, I think, and the whole servers were down.
Oh no.
I need to play it again. We played it at Hodges too, but I wasn't feeling good that day.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh yeah. I remember
that. Okay, so my answer to this is I want anyone who has any interest at all in PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, the PC game that's in early access that is kind of taking the world by storm, I'm going to say. It's sold 7 million copies already. It's coming to Xbox One next. Check out the Drop Zone podcast, dropzonecast.com. Just a great podcast done by 2 guys. They've done podcasts before, but they enjoy playing this game. They're actually building a community. They have a Discord. They play with their friends. They help people get other people to play with. And they're just funny guys. They usually start off with the podcast with, just joking around and shooting the shit and talking about what's new in life. And it's just fun to listen to them. They totally could be Cartridge Club members. They're that kind of people. And they're just fun to listen to, as well as they talk about the game. And they actually may be getting a change put into the game where they're getting jet skis added. They started bugging one of the developers, and they and the community bugged enough to get jet skis considered as a feature for a future.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Yeah. Right, Hodge?
Sounds cool.
Yeah, my answer is a YouTube channel, and I mentioned it in one of my previous YouTube videos that I did, but it's Smash JT. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's somebody that I want to try to reach out to. He should be part of the Cartridge Club because I think he'd be a great contributor to the group. His most recent video he does news videos where whatever the current events are going on in gaming, he'll cover and do a story, and he's doing videos pretty much weekly. And then he does other videos where he does his top favorite games or things like that, or he did a video on the Switch. But his most recent one, and it was a really good video, I watched it today, was on the Xbox One S. No, Xbox One X, and how it looks like now the way things are going is they could be failing before it has even launched. So I don't want to devolve too much, but it's a great video, some good well thought out, well put together videos. So he's somebody, Smash JT on YouTube. Definitely go check him out.
Adding videos of his to my watch later now.
Yeah, you'll really like that one because I know you're an Xbox guy.
True. All right, cool. So moving on to the next section, this is where we talk about the Cartridge Club Game of the Month. This is September, and the game of the month is Mega Man 2, and the portable game is Mega Man ZX on the Nintendo DS. Who is playing? Me first. I would like to try out Mega Man 2 on the Legacy Collection I have on 3DS. I haven't yet. Mega Man's always been a game that I'm not good enough to play. So I probably won't even get around to it, but we'll see. My 3DS is also broken right now. I need to work on it because I hacked it and now it's broken because it did an update. So that's hindering me as well. Hodge?
Yeah, I'm hoping to play it. I haven't picked it up yet, but I have Mega Man 2 on the Nintendo. I have the Legacy Collection, and then I have the NES Classic. So I have multiple places to play it. I just have to find the time to sit down and actually do it. I remember back in the day, and I don't know if it was 2 or 3 or 4, whatever. I remember renting Mega Man all the time and playing it, and never getting very far. Maybe beating 1 or 2 bosses, and then that's about it. So
yeah, I remember a cousin of mine having it. Same thing.
I would like to sit down and try, and what I might do is maybe use the NES Classic and use some save states. And
the Legacy Collection apparently has save states too.
Oh, does it? Okay,
that's what I've heard. Yeah,
and sometimes I find
said that
the portables the better way because I can sit up on the couch and play it if the wife's watching TV or if I want to play a little bit before bed. So maybe I'll try the
Or at
legacy
lunch
collection.
at work.
Or lunch at work, exactly.
All right, Katherine?
Yeah, we don't have plans. September is a really, really busy month for Miles and I, but I'd like to try. I'm pretty sure I won't.
No pressure.
I'm pretty sure I wouldn't do very well, but I like making Miles try these games. And I think with save states we'd be okay. I think he beat the first one.
If you want to,
he's shaking his head. No, he
if you want to enjoy watching him play it, you need to make a video because I want to see it too.
Well, we'll use save states, and so I think with save states we might get. Well, I say we, but it's usually just him and I watch. But we might try it. I think we like to play along with the Cartridge Club game. I don't know anything about Mega Man ZX. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
ZX.
Yeah, I've never even heard about that
ZX.
one until I saw it for this month.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to find a Mega Man game to play as well, and I think yes is always a good platform, right?
Yeah, so if I can find it, I might try it because I do also do
There's
like
a lot for DS. Actually.
You guys need to switch to Mega Man Mondays for the month of September.
for September. Well, then you won't get any more Mario versus Rabbids.
Yeah, my son's enjoying watching your Mario versus Rabbids.
I haven't watched it because I'm playing too, and I don't.
No,
I don't want to get
no
spoilers.
spoilers.
And stuff,
That's
so.
okay. No offense taken.
All right, wrapping things up. This is the part I hate. Plugs. So NintendoHodge. Check out NintendoHodge on YouTube and check them out at NintendoHodge on Twitter. And then Katherine, you are Katherine of Flock of Nerds on YouTube, Flock Talk Podcast, and Twitter. You are you kind of are Flock of Nerds, but I think Miles mostly does that, right?
Yeah, I just because it started to get confusing when we were both using the same account. So we each have our own personal account, but I just left Flock of Nerds to him, and if you need to reach me for whatever reason and not the both of us, I'm @K_song.
Okay. All right, and I am Derek of Two Dorks, TWO Dorks on YouTube. And check out the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org, which literally as we speak, the website is coming back up because we have been working on it, migrating, forced migration of the forums, a bunch of other problems, but it is back up on a new host, on a new server. Everything's good. I think it's working. I haven't had time to check, but it came up literally as we were talking. I was watching messages from P1 and Dean as they're working on it. All right, that is the community that brought all of us together. Join by creating an account in the forums and just start talking to us, or just stalk us on Twitter and talk to us. We don't care. Just talk. It's just fun. Thank you guys for being my guests. Thank you for being on here.
Thanks for
having us.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. It was awesome. And that's it. Cha-ching.